Hey y'all, folks. I usually podcast on health and beauty and relationships and love and being a mom and a wife, etc. Blah blah blah. Meow meow meow. The last few months, it's been just like sitting in me. I've been learning more about politics. I was really down when Kamala did not win the presidency. I was really down for personal reasons. Like since high school, I was introduced by my English teacher to a female running for vice president back then in the 80s. And that was Geraldine Ferraro. That was the first time I was like, wow, ooh, someone can be a vice president and a female? That's amazing. So fast forward decades, Kamala lost. Besides the fact that she's also a Democrat, and so am I, again, I was beside myself, especially for me, the woman thing really hit home hard. I think it would level it up because what we're seeing now would definitely be not going on. We have to start putting our voice out there. That's why I'm here talking to you, and I made the shift because no matter how much I tried to get myself back into my studio to record about whatever I was going through, and now I know why. It's because I am so wrapped up in politics that that's what I want to do. My vision for our future as a country, if our country is going to go on the way it used to, but even better, is we have to come together in this of red and blue. I'm not saying we have to change the way we feel, but we have to start understanding each other and loving each other and accepting each other for who we are. We're all human beings. We all have loved ones. We all want to provide for our loved ones whatever is needed, love, health, financial, anything. It's just obvious for most people. I thought it was obvious that you want to do this. And for the people in charge of our country right now, they're just not doing it the right way. They are going about it in such a inhumane way that I think everyone's starting to wake up. And the more we talk about it and the more people that put themselves out there for this tear apart. I know whenever I used to post anything on Facebook in Trump's first administration, I used to get, all these horrible, just I don't know where people come up with these things that have nothing to do with even what I posted or what's going on. And it just took over Facebook. So I got off of Facebook. And then recently I've been watching the Midas Touch podcast. And if you haven't checked these three brothers out from Long Island, they no longer live there. I definitely think you should. I check them out on YouTube, subscribe to them. They're up to almost 6 million subscribers. They are so generous with their truth, their receipts, and their information that they bring to the world. And they encouraged me and everybody in their audience to get out there and say your opinion and talk about these issues. Now, we're getting hit with stuff every day. You have to stay focused on what you want the outcome to be. And I'm not staying focused on the 2026 outcome because I feel like that's not even going to happen, maybe. Who says that this election should have had a different outcome? Who says there's even going to be another election? Anyone that speaks out or wins that Trump and his people don't agree with, they tear apart. They are just tearing everybody apart. And it kind of reminds me of living in New York, and I don't live in New York anymore anyway. I lived on Long Island also. It's just reminds me of why I left with whoever screams the loudest, the longest, the lies wins, whether it's customer service or your family. It's just like yelling lies, spinning. Everything is the other person's fault, like they're doing right now. Everything's Biden's fault. First, they're saying Biden wasn't even capable of doing anything. Now they're saying he did all this stuff, which is beyond me. That's how I feel today. Today, I want to talk about the horrific flooding that happened in Texas. I can't imagine how the parents and the loved ones are feeling right now in Texas. And it's just, like I said, so sad that anybody that passed, and that number keeps going up, and it's really way up. The girls at the summer camp being washed away. I'm just gonna cry right now. I have three amazing children. They're adults now, and we lived, well, I can't even take the credit, but I lived through it too. But my kids went to school in the generation where school shootings were when they were happening on a very regular basis, even in safe communities. And they had to learn how to live with this and normalize it. And I had to learn with it and normalize it, because if I heard that there was a threat at the school, nobody was getting sent home. No one was getting notified. They would go on lockdown. If I called the school, I wasn't allowed to know what was going on. Thank God they were always safe, but they had to live with this back and forth whiplash of this gun violence at their school, especially when you live in a rural community where guns are, in the kids, in some of the kids' trucks at the school or in the trunks. They don't go car to car and check what these kids are having. My heart goes out to Texas. With that being said, we can't ignore or put our head in the ground about what led up to this. Noah being cut, the NWS being cut, people being forced to leave, being pushed out, just like the federal employees have been pushed out from Dodge, and it's still going on. It's still going on. People being forced out, and they're being forced into retirement or forced to take this package. Woohoo, they get a vacation, and they're being forced to look for other jobs. And these people at these government places too were pushed out and forced to retire. These are public service workers that love what they do. Any of these federal employees or government employees could work in the private sector anytime. Trust me, I know some. And they could get paid double and take on other side projects. When you work for the government, it's because it's your passion and because you're serving the public, okay? It's just a fact. If you know anybody, it's just true. They just get lost in their work, and it's what they spent years on researching, because it's what they always wanted to do when they grew up. They wanted to be a weather person. They wanted to be a scientist. They loved bugs and, whatever it was with them, water, biologists. They just knew it. Some of them knew it from when they were kids, and then they followed their hearts, and they're public servants that are, like I said, they could get paid more in a public sector. Now, some of these people are aging out, so they can't even move on because they're close to retirement. So what they have done with this weather service is crazy, because living in North Carolina for half of my life, I've had to deal with hurricane warnings and hurricanes actually coming into the state or staying on the coast. And if I were to compare like our warnings with what just happened in Texas, it sounds crazy to me. Like, we get warned a week in advance. We are watching screens, and people are telling us, and they actually overtell us to make sure everybody's safe now. And last year, some of my kids were in Florida, and during Hurricane Milton, the same thing happened. They were covering Milton for days, and they started evacuations days before it happened. And as it narrowed down, they were saying you might get flooded. You either stay and take your chances or you leave. That was good enough for my now adult kids. They left and came back home here. Thank God they did that. They were so scared. Now, did their home get flooded? No, it didn't. But at least they were told. There was plenty of links from days and a week before that this natural disaster was coming. And as it got closer, just like we do in North Carolina, you find out how bad it's going to be, what the different tracks might be. And same like flooding, we get floods here. It's going to flood here. It might be this much. It might be this much. And then as you get closer, the more warnings and the more they tell you what to do, even if it happens in the middle of the night. And let me tell you, I don't know why, but any hurricane I've been in, almost here in North Carolina, has happened in the middle of the night. The worst one I've ever been in was my first one, which was Hurricane Fran in 1996. And that was all night long. I just heard giant trees like fall to the earth. And it's scary. Let me tell you, I was in an apartment and it was scary and it was dark and all the electric was off and there's rain coming through the ceiling and you just don't know what's going on. Since then, yes, we've gotten plenty more hurricanes. Do they do damage? Yes. Since then, has it done damage to my neighborhood? No, not really. We'll lose power sometimes, sometimes not. Some trees will go down, sometimes not. Flooding, sometimes not. But I love the fact that they overdo things all the time. The news, the governor gets on, emergency all the time. Where no matter what you're watching or listening to, you're gonna hear about what's going on until you almost can't take it anymore. But like I've taught my kids, and coming to all this is prepare for each one, which isn't often, but prepare. Take the next step if it needs to be taken. Now, anything that's happened this far, I never had to evacuate until after the fact. Like losing power for 5 days, then I have to leave and go to a hotel. Thank God we have money to get a hotel for all five of us and get the kids to school the next day if they have to go to school, because our neighborhood was one of the few that went out. So if you don't have money to go to a hotel, you just don't have these luxuries of living a decent life in these days that it takes for the ground to recover all your things, electricity and water or whatever it is. These people are all displaced now. They have loved ones that are passed, and it's just that it's crazy to me that there wasn't this lead up and everything's to hear Kristi Noem say a few things, thoughts and prayers, which I'm all about. I'm all about thoughts and prayers. But this is a physical thing that happened. And don't tell me once in 100 years, like everything that's happened since January, since Trump went into effect. Kristi Noem, who actually shot her dog dead because it bit somebody or wasn't behaving. They call the cosplayer because she's got like all these extensions and the makeup and the wigs, which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love all that too. But her job is super important. She needs to be wrapped into her job or people actually die, like what's happening and what's going to happen, because they want to get rid of FEMA. They got rid of a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of funding. Florida's district doesn't even have anybody appointed, and they're going into hurricane season again. They're already there like us. You're in hurricane season already. We already had a tropical storm issued over this past weekend. There's actually people dying because, quote unquote, she can't even wrap her head around this. No, she should be at the office. She should have done it already, putting things into place to either replace what she took out or start anew, like she claimed, instead of making all these appearances here and there. All this was happening, she was posting. I don't know if you saw this. She was posting on her Instagram 3 different choices she wanted her audience to vote on that were like painted pictures of her for her official picture of her position. And one was like on a horse, or all of them were, but she gave them all names like Ice something, Blondie, because she had a lot of blonde streaks in her hair and the extensions. Um, she just, while this flooding was going on before she got there. Now she gets there, she's putting on a show. I don't know about you, but anything I listened to that she was talking about was she was actually praying with people and stuff. That's not her job. They have people to pray with. Your job is to get all these people missing found. Everybody that's been displaced, placed, all the funding that you can get flowing, all the people from the surrounding area flowing. This already happened. I wonder if a lot of it didn't have to happen. And we're going to find out because these are going to be investigated by lots of different parties. It's normal. They are going to be investigated, and we're going to find out about these little time spans in the middle of the night that actually big blocks of time that nobody was getting these girls or these people out. They were sleeping. Oh, they were sleeping. Like I said, we sleep in this state through hurricanes, but we sleep almost good, because we were warned. And so we're kind of like sleeping, but we're not, just in case we have to do something. So don't tell me these people were warned, okay? I can't wait for the investigations to get done, and that's going to take a long time, and that doesn't matter. We still lost these people. We saw a snippet last night that said about a fiance that died. He gave his life punching the window and getting his family or his fiance out before the flood hit. And, he was just, I think they said he was bleeding too much or something by then, but he said he knew he was going to die. And he said that, and he told her, I love you, his fiance. I mean, these things that are happening since this presidency began is disgusting. I can go on. Half of them are sex abusers. I mean, our own president is a felon, and he was put into office. He was allowed to run in the race. People voted for him. What do you think you're going to get from a felon? Felony actions. Sex abuser. Pete Hegseth, same allegations. I mean, but with our president, it was proven. I don't know if it was proven with him or not, and I don't care. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And these people just flock together, these people in the cabinet now that don't care about human life and other people. And they just care about themselves and being like this fake famous, whatever they think they're doing. It's absolutely disgusting. And we need to stop it. And the way we need to stop it is by doing our protesting, calling our senators and our congressmen, and speaking out online, even if you get beat up. I recently, the night that we bombed Iran. Oh, that's another one. Oh, our country bombed Iran on a Saturday night like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I was just beside myself again. again and again. And my favorite emoji these days seem to be the puking emoji. I can't think of anything when I see Kristi Noem's except the puking emoji, Pam Bondi except the puking emoji, Miller, Hegseth, all of them, Trump, his wife. I mean, women, I don't want to say you expect this from men, but in history, and in criminal statistics, you know it's meant for women to be like acting like this now without feelings. All it's and lies, lies. Caroline Levitt lies, Pam Bondi lies, Christine Nome lies, Donald Trump lies. Everybody lies. Even when they're under oath, they find a way not to answer. It just goes on. We have to stand up every chance we get. We have to. So July 17th is the next No Kings protest. It could be called something else too. The big ones are like coming once a month now, they seem, because we're calling it the Summer of Democracy, which I love, on a lighter note. So I went to the No Kings last month and I grabbed three other people to come, and it was actually local. And I live in like a red county. So I was happy that I didn't have to drive to Raleigh, although I love driving to Raleigh because my friends come with us and there's so many people there. It's crazy. And there's absolutely no news coverage on it all, which is even crazier. That's why I stopped watching ABC News. I always used to watch ABC News during dinner or after dinner, especially world news. I don't anymore. It's been months because after the election, the world news comes on and it talks about weather, which is great. But what about our state of emergency that's going on? They're not allowed to talk about nothing. I don't want to watch nothing anymore. And that's why I encourage you all to watch the Midas Touch Network on YouTube, or you could subscribe to them for free also on Substack, or you can listen to them on your favorite podcasts. I listen on Spotify and Apple. I go in there and thumbs up them just to support them because they're actually making a difference. They have Gavin Newsom on there live after they had soldier military men walking in daylight over the soccer fields in LA last night. This is what our administration's doing. The kids again were at a soccer field in their summer camp for the day. And to see this parade of the National Guard or ICE or whoever they were walk through with their like camos on, armed, they had to rush the kids out of there. Another tragedy with kids. Sure, they're alive. They're gonna be traumatized. They're already traumatized. Could you imagine like playing with your friends and then you live in the United States and to have all these guards come towards you? It's insane. I laugh as a diffuser for this horror that we've been all living through. These kids were put through trauma. Sure, they whisked them off of the field as fast as they could, but they still saw it. This is insanity. The parents. Not now you have to worry about the shootings at the school because of the gun laws in this country. But now you have to worry about military marching through your summer camp or a natural disaster happening while your kids are sleeping. Or even if they were awake, would everything be okay? No, we don't know that. So please, there's so much to talk about. I'm going to leave it at that for now, but I'm going to head out to the July. It's on a Thursday this time, and I know it's because it has meaning, but I know a lot of people work too. So if you can take off from work to go, it says a lot. You don't have to tell anybody why. Grab people, go. Because even though in this purple state of North Carolina I live in, that it seemed to have become more red, is gonna start becoming back purple and blue again. Otherwise, people are gonna be leaving here. I don't want to stay here if I have to live with people that support this horror, inhumane, undignified way of life. And Tom Tillis, our senator, actually was one of the ones that voted no on the big bad bill that passed. And no, I did not vote for him. I did call him nicely and always spoke to his receptionist locally, or I'd call the 202 number and leave a nice message. Please stand up for us. Please stand up for our country. And all the moms here were doing the same thing too, and other people. He actually did. And I was never more happier, but it came with a quick sadness because nobody else did it. Nobody else except the senator from Kentucky or Tennessee, I forget. But he's all the time with the no, doing the right thing, and I love him too. Phyllis, I'm so proud he did what he did for our state and for our country. I am so disgraced by everybody else caving. What they're caving for, no one really knows, but they're all caved and put our country more underwater. So I'm not surprised. So get out there for July 17th. It's coming up. Before you know it, it's going to be here. And I just want to show you some posters I made for last time. You could go to the Dollar General or any craft store by you and just get like poster board for really cheap. They have foam board or, the white faced. I think this was $1 or $2. And you could get poster marker at the art store. If you're ready for change, please, it doesn't matter if you voted for this felon. If you want things to change, please come out and support the rest of the country. We will embrace you. Let's just all embrace each other. Come out and do what you can. I make both sides because if you're holding it up, you kind of got both sides. I'm getting to be kind of good at this. And it was my first No Kings. So a couple of ladies got together at the library and we started making poster boards together. And taco is going on this week. I know everything's changing so quickly, it's hard to keep up. That's why I make posters all the time. They're so cheap and they're actually fun. They're actually very healing too. I hate to say it, but the library we met is like 15 minutes from my house, and it's where the Ku Klux Klan, yes, folks, the KKK was formed. Yeah, it's sick. They finally took the plaque down. They had a plaque on the main road there until 1989 or something that said, "Welcome to the original home of the KKK." Now, that was a few years before my time here, but I swear I saw it. But they say they took it down in the 80s, but okay, if you say so. So ironically, we were at that library. And when I left proud with my signs. Obviously, I don't have a big bag big enough to hide them, and I had to walk past people. But you know what? I don't care anymore. I really don't. I want our country back to normal. Now, this, I don't know if y'all are seeing this backwards or not, but this took me like hours. And I just had it in my mind and I was like, I'm going to do it. I was home and I was just like, I'm going to do it. And after it was complete, I put it down and I was like healed of everything I had in my head that day that was building up weeks. And I was thinking, I can't put them all in jail. It would look, too much drawing. It won't look good. I don't care. At the end of the hours, I was healed. It was amazing, folks. So when you make your sign, make it any way you want. If you don't like to draw and you're not a drawer like me, I just draw for fun. I took a lot of art classes in high school, but if you're not like, don't want to draw, just get markers and be you. Whoever I make signs with, they be them. And it's amazing to see all the differences. And then when you get out there, you're like going, oh, I love your sign. Oh, I love your sign. And you're taking pictures and you just feel this bond that we haven't had in a long time because we've been separated since COVID. So this was great because I just reminded people, that Kristi Noem, incompetent dog killer cosplayer, so incompetent. The more we go on, the more incompetent, obviously, and she's actually taking lives now. Our president, which this is crazy, I still can't believe he's our president, but more than that, I still can't believe he acts the way he does. When he got voted in, I said to my kids, we've been through this before. We can live with it for 4 more years. No, I can't. This has been horrific day after day. Um, he's a sexual abuser. It's a fact. He's a felon. It's a fact. Fraud. Fact. Bankrupter 6 times. Fact. Mass layoffs. Fact. Pete Hegseth. Look at that smirk. I got that by accident, but that's him. All he says is it's confidential. Did you see him during the hearings? He never spoke an answer. All he did was filibuster or say it was confidential. I couldn't finish a word. So I put it down here. So it's confidential, I can't say. That's all they say too. So he's been accused of sexual force. He's also been an alcohol abuser. He's also been financially negligent. And he is also incompetent. These people are running our country. These people are running our country, not their household. They're running our country. If you want to abuse alcohol, do it on your own family time or whenever. You don't go run a country if you're doing that. If you are sexually forcing yourself on people, you're married. Leave everybody alone. You claim you all have these values. I have a feeling nobody really has relationships with their spouses. And I did the other side, truth over liars. They're all freaking liars. I just can't stand it anymore. If they do say something, it's all a lie and it's all the opposite. I don't know if you've noticed, but especially with our president, whatever he says is the complete opposite. Like he does something, like he'll bomb Iran, and then he'll say the opposite. It's okay. Everybody knew. Nobody got hurt. If he says anything like, "Oh, I'm passing this bill to help all these people stay on health care, get their Social Security tax off." He just says the opposite of what he does. And we need to come out there and say that. So this way, people like my neighbors who voted them over one small little thing like transgender health care, which got passed anyway. I mean, we need to make sure that he doesn't, if it comes to a vote, get voted again. We need to embrace each other. That's it. I'll be back though. This is amazing. And I hope you come back too. So please subscribe and share and definitely watch the Midas Touch Network. And if you want a mom and a wife's opinion on what's going on in this country, come visit. Let me know what's going on with you too. Until then, let's embrace everybody that wants this inhumane, lying, selfish ongoing down economy, up going inflation to stop.